Hey everyone, it's a dose with Dr. Drew.
You did not come through. Can you hear her okay? Let's see if you're hearing everything. I see you guys there. Hi, everyone. Hello from Chicago, Sonia. Well done. Can you hear us? Are you hearing us? And did you hear Susan?
Let's see the music.
Let's try the happy, happy music. See if you listen to that. I'm not hearing it. Huh.
Yeah, they can hear. Something happened.
Okay. Everybody in? Yes, sounds good. All right, excellent. So we'll give everybody a chance to get in before I go over stuff. Everyone recovered from the marathon yesterday that was the debate. What you all made of that? Alexander, hello from Northwestern Illinois. Whatever you got, I'm listening. Susan, I'm going to put both headphones in. It's disorienting to have one. All right, that's true. If you're going to mess around with the music, though, bright light on me. They're saying looks weird. Hold on. Good feedback. Thank you, Richard. Good. How's that look? Okay. Tom Cigar. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. It was interesting trying to comment on something like that in real time, but I think my final impression was about right. Case demic is popping, Lloyd. Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. There's something very strange going on in LA County, and I wonder if it is was the Laker, demonstration, so to speak. Supposedly that was only 1,000 people, but somebody said they saw 10,000. Somebody told me they saw 30,000. Somebody said 100. I didn't believe that, but
that was Daniel Baldwin.
Right, Daniel Baldwin said 100,000. But if you look, I'm looking at the COVID, the case incidents in San Bernardino County. This is all the Los Angeles surrounding counties. San Bernardino County, way down. I'm looking at Riverside. It seems, okay. I'm looking at Orange County, way down. And then LA County, through the roof. They went from essentially 700 cases a day to 3,600 cases a day. And it's reflecting in the cases for the state of California. So the state of California was hitting 3,000, stable at 3,000. Well, these extra 3,000 cases in Los Angeles pushed the California numbers up to 6,000, which are significant. Now, weirdly, hospitalization not changing, which is kind of interesting. And yet the death rate popped a little bit. Thank you. The death rate popped from essentially 30 cases to 160 cases. So it's very hard to understand what is going on. It is crazy. And I one of the things we can all look at is to say, well, maybe it was the schools, right? Getting back to school, that kind of thing. That makes some sense. And in Los Angeles, it makes me wonder if there is something related to the demonstrations around the Lakers win, whether people really did congregate in the streets at a much higher rate than they should have. And there was also a demonstration, you guys may not be aware of this, but we have a huge Armenian population in Los Angeles. And they had a giant demonstration in regards to the war with Azerbaijan. And I'm wondering, and they did that for a couple of days. And so I'm wondering if, we can localize this outbreak in Glendale. I think we know what's going on. What if everyone okay, so Steve Larson asked a great question. Steve goes, what if everyone just went back to normal, just went on with life as if COVID never existed?
Yeah.
I've been thinking that way, Steve Larson. I've been thinking that we should, not that we should go on as though it's nothing, that we should do the right things we know how to do, but go back to work. Try to create as much normalcy as possible. Pollyanna, I am quarantined because I have a MTV production next Thursday. Yeah, next Thursday, and they've asked me to stay in a quarantine and get COVID test every other day. They want me in a 7-day quarantine. Now, the quarantine began yesterday. Remember I said yesterday was day one, or was it yesterday or day? Yeah, Thursday was day one. Wednesday night, we went out to dinner, and somebody reported us to MTV or to somebody as though, well, they called my publicist, but they were ragging on me for breaking my quarantine. My quarantine hadn't started yet, and we're trying to figure out who saw us, who thought they should call my publicist. That's such a weird thing. Any of you guys do that? It was somebody's birthday. It was Cat Tim. It was Cat's birthday. It was Cat Tim's birthday.
Well, it's next week, but we
It's coming
can't
up.
go serious.
Right, it's coming up, but it's going to come up during my quarantine. So yeah, Teen Mom Reunion is coming up, and we're going to see everybody.
We
And
have spies.
what
We have spies.
is that? What somebody's saying?
No. Okay.
200,000 more deaths by the end of the year. That would be 300,000, 3,000 per day starting now. Yeah, that is not going to happen, Andrew Ashkasvili. That's not going to happen. In fact, there's really, as I pointed out yesterday, really an interesting thing with, I lost my train of thought, with the hospitalizations, which that we are moving people into the hospital more readily to give them the remdesivir and the convalescent plasma, which is kind of interesting. Let me, Steve Larson, I'm going to finish my thought with you in a second. Let me just point out that the remdesivir now has been FDA approved. The studies were quite compelling. I read them yesterday. There were some interesting studies today that came out on convalescent plasma on a phase 2 trial on moderate to severe COVID cases that showed people it did not change the mortality rate. So in other words, if you were going to get worse, you would get, I can't say it that way. If you were on your way into trouble, it would not prevent that. But if you were not decompensating, turns out the convalescent plasma will shorten your illness and make you feel better quickly. Now, the thing about these plasma infusions is that they're prothrombotic. They can cause things like strokes and clots and pulmonary emboli. And so there's concern that may be, and we know that thrombosis is part of the disease of COVID. So there's concern that somehow this is the issue here. So Steve, let me go back to you. What's the answer? Would it work? Steve Larson's asking. The answer is to try to induce as much normalcy as possible. And the problem is if you live in California, you live in a state that is so oppressive, it reminds me of some sort of war camp. It's unlike everywhere else in the country, I assure you. And now that there's this spike in LA County, I can't wait to see what their response is. They'll probably become apoplectic and shut everybody down. So I don't know. It feels like you can't, this thing, only the virus knows what it's going to do, right? And it feels like it's going to move through the population at a certain rate if you allow it. And if you do certain kind of mitigation efforts, it will still come around, but it won't come around quite as ferociously until we get the vaccine, which hopefully will be starting in a few weeks. We'll see. What do you think about Chicago or someone thinking about moving there during all this? I love Chicago, but Chicago's got a lot of problems. Can I see what's on television? You want to see the TV behind me now? Is that you got so used to seeing the debate behind me?
No, we can't. We'll get banned.
Hold on a second. People are asking me, why are they quarantining you? A production, no big deal. What do I think about civil unrest coming? Ashley, I don't know what you're talking about, so maybe you ought to enlighten me. That does not sound good. Kanye's on the Rogan show tomorrow. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. Which zinc is the good one to take? Elemental zinc. Just look for 25 milligrams of elemental zinc. It does not matter what form it comes. Nationwide mask mandate, Kimberly. I'd see the here nor there. Ken, you have a rational question for the rational recovery? I'm ready. If Trump wins, I think riots will explode. Ashley thinks there's going to be riots all over the place if Trump wins. Oh yeah. Hang on a second. Curious why you're hopeful of success was created when one for the other coronaviruses hasn't been done before. Holly, the reason we haven't done coronavirus vaccines before is because we haven't invested $5 billion in the development of them and mandated them as a priority. We didn't do that. It hasn't been something that the medical system is focused on. Now we're focused on it, and it's working. Please, the studies look amazing. Read the studies. Read them for yourself. Look, that one kid that died, a physician that died in Brazil, died because he was getting the placebo. The other arm of the vaccine study are doing great. Let's see. What?
Why did they have to get somebody who just...
He got the placebo, then he got COVID, then he died.
No,
He didn't know he was going to get COVID because he got COVID. He didn't assume he was getting the vaccine. He can't. You can never know which. He's a physician. He knew what he was getting into. Yeah. Yep. I voted already, blue to Quay. The main reason I want to get the propositions in California are insane, and I wanted to vote against all those except 22, which I think was the right way to vote for that.
I like Uber.
Why don't we spend $5 billion on obesity reduction? Because I don't think spending money on that would help. I think there's a lot more going on there than people understand in terms of why we've gotten that issue. So you wanted me to talk about something else, Susan? What was it you said? The locals. You can find me at drdrew.locals.com, where I'm going to be doing some live chats and hopefully doing some Zoom meetings and things like that. And we're going to try to beef that up soon. I know I've been talking about it. It's been hard to.
Subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe there. The studies on remdesivir, are they using it for mild cases as well now too? Moderate to severe primarily, but if you're becoming hypoxemic, if you're short of breath, you're going to the hospital, you're getting remdesivir. That's bottom line right now. Okay. Tom Cigar, what was the mental game you were playing? I have found these no starch, no carbs to be very effective. Just cut out all your carbohydrates and starches and things. You'll be shocked how easy it is to lose weight on that. What's your thoughts on death from placebo? It was a meningitis shot. You mean you're talking about a meningitis study where somebody died? People die of all kinds of things, Andrew. If they're getting a placebo, it was not the shot.
Study.
All studies have placebo.
Somebody has to die.
Susan, he didn't have to. Maybe he should have been more careful with the care of the COVID patients, right? He didn't die because of the study. He would have died anyway. That's the point, right? Do you get it? No, you don't get it. Do I really think Trump had it? Absolutely. And I thought what his physicians did was perfect, absolutely perfect. Medical question. 80-year-old dad, can he safely use hydrolyte? If he does not have heart failure, Chris. If he has any degree of muscle dysfunction, I would not advise that. It's a pretty good sodium load in there. So heart disease, fine, but not if he has muscle disease, if he has cardiomyopathy. Do I need a show on Facebook? I don't know what that means, Natalie. Do you have to track blood ketones? No, you don't. You can, certainly. I don't think I think I was ketogenic at the beginning. I don't.
Show goes live on Facebook.
What shows that? Oh, this shows live on Facebook, yeah. Did I get nervous for Trump when he was diagnosed? It could have gone down. Yeah, just admitting him to the hospital puts him at about a 10-15% risk of serious trouble. But, he wasn't hospitalized sort of normally, so. Keep feathering it, Drew. Shoop. What's the best way to my husband quit smoking? Okay. Transferring to vape has consistently been shown to be the best way to stop smoking. Also using other nicotine replacements. Like the gum and the lozenges and that kind of thing for the first 2 weeks. And then after that, other kinds of behavioral interventions, usually, and also don't forget there is medication you can take that about 30% of the time will really reduce your desire to use. So it works pretty well. Facebook Watch, they're saying, not just Facebook. Food isn't mind-altering like alcohol. Yeah. Quarantine day 2. I do not have COVID, but I'm doing a production that requires me to go on quarantine for 7 days. Please answer. All right, hold on.
Man,
I love my brother.
Don't be a narc.
He doesn't. To who? Who's narking? Lisa, why are you high risk? Ask him to please be more safe. I don't want to die yet. He gets super mad. Why are you high risk, Lisa? Tell me what the high risks are. Are you over age 75? Do you have metabolic syndrome? Do you have antiphospholipid syndrome? These are the risks. Everything else is just sort of everything else. So what is your risk, Lisa? I'd like to know. The person who dies in the Oxford study. Okay, hold on. Died from placebo, but it was a meningitis shot. They said the placebo was a meningitis shot. Oh, really? Yeah, but he died of COVID, I heard, Andrew. So I don't know what to make of that. That's kind of interesting, isn't it? What are the ingredients in a COVID vaccine? It depends. Some of it is RNA that gets inserted into your RNA and that produces the proteins of the virus that your body can then destroy. Some of it is building proteins of the virus and letting your body just respond to that. Revolution. Yes, Roush Revolution. I'm with you. I was thinking, Christina, we lost 80 pounds. Lots of lean meats, no carbs. Good. Carbs are addicting. I'm a carb addict for sure. Yeah. Lisa, you didn't tell me. Oh, there you are. Lisa, you're supposed to tell me what your underlying conditions are that put you at risk for complications of COVID. If you are not in one of these specific risk categories, your probability of dying of COVID is 0.04%. And so 99.9% of chance of survival. I mean, it's crazy how likely it is to be a non-issue. The crazy thing, though, is that there are, if 20 million people get something and you have a 0.4% chance of complication, you're going to find thousands of people that have complications. It's just not going to happen to you. You've got to learn how to assess numbers. Any other supplements that I know of that can help against COVID? Vitamin C, vitamin D, thiamine, pepsid, melatonin, magnesium, and zinc. I don't know what the Ethan H3 podcast is. We posted the list? Good. Excellent. We posted that. Why did they give the guy a meningitis placebo shot if he had COVID? They gave him a meningitis shot, so he had a reaction, much like, in other words, you don't want somebody to know they're getting a placebo. So they give them something that they still have a reaction to. If you'd like to know that list of that list again, it's up on Twitter, on my Twitter site. So take a look at that there. Kevin, I don't know what was 15 years ago. None of those, Lisa. So yeah, you're not high risk. Obesity would be the only thing that is sort of a semi problem if you're young, because sometimes if you're very obese, people in that category have gotten into trouble. But it's still very low probability. Can you discuss the difference in types of addictions? Alcohol versus food versus behavioral, gambling, sex, blah, blah, blah. The same regions of the brain. You're asking for a big talk here. Let me get to it. Let me answer some of these other questions. Okay, so all addictions are a disorder of the medial forebrain bundle. The ventral tegmental input to the shell of the nucleus accumbens. If you are genetically prone, those cells inside that shell of the nucleus accumbens will alter permanently and change the way they motivate all the other systems in the brain. So all your thinking, all your feelings, all your ideas about what you should be doing, all that becomes distorted and focused on what the medial forebrain bundle is telling you to do. Now that's sort of the wanting or the do it again part of the brain. There's also the liking part of the brain, the endorphin system. So most addictions include liking and wanting, or sort of being driven to do something again. And that do it again part is the primary pathway in addiction. Do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, even when you don't like it, even when it doesn't work anymore. And that's addiction. The liking can come and go, but usually many things you can still kind of like or like it sometime during the day or during the week, but most of the time it's just do it again, biology. And it's all the same. I mean, if you behavioral addictions, whether it's sex or food it's a little kind of a special case, but porn, let's say, porn, process, internet, that kind of, we just become like a lab rat. That's all. All of these higher functions, these frontal cortical systems, and all our reasoning and thinking and thought processes, all are twisted and serve this motivational thing that's driving those systems. What do I think of this article? Hold on a second. Next few months will be hardest phase of the pandemic. Former FDA commissioner warns next few months will be the hardest phase of the pandemic. It's possible. I'm worried about that. I don't know. We have to find a way to weather it. I don't think there's going to be as much death, and I don't think there will be a lot of hospitalizations. But I think we've got to find a way to weather it, to navigate it, keep working, keep going about our business, but not spreading it. I think that is the great challenge. High platelet count and high white count in a 41-year-old female. There's a million things that can do that. I would probably see hematologist, so that can be monitored. High platelet count can be a sign of something going on in the bone marrow. Same with the white cell; they kind of a similar common source. But But the high platelet can be a sign of inflammation somewhere too. So it's something to have a hematologist take a look at that, I would say. Do I agree with Dr. Fauci that people should not get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas? I do not. I do not. I think people should get together in small groups, but they might want to do it outside, minimize, do smart things, do smart things. I don't think people should be apoplectic about any of this. Yeah, Ashley, you haven't heard me say I'm worried about it because it feels a little fog now. It feels like, I don't know what is going on here. Like, why all of a sudden in Los Angeles we have 2,700 cases? That's weird. And you have these, and I'm not surprised in these states that have not had a previous surge, they're finally getting their surge, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird that what's going on here. So my bet is,
Protesting the Armenians and the Lakers.
yeah, my fear is that there's something going on here that's going to get bad again, and everyone's going to. My greatest fear is they're going to try to shut things down as the answer to this, and that's a terrible.
Why can't we do it in boroughs like New York?
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. The way New York City has done it is that they've been locking down very local systems, and it's worked rather well. Let's see. If this Purdue Pharma situation not helping, there will still be and still are a lot of them on the street. Kayhan, I don't know what you're talking about. The street drugs now is fentanyl. Fentanyl is what people are buying on the streets, period. It's widely distributed. It's cheap. Fentanyl and meth, those are the drugs that are being used. The pharmaceutical thing dried up because of what the federal government did to physicians. They put a bunch of them in jail, and that took care of it. Steve, no, that doesn't sound very feasible to me, my friend. It's not about liability; it's about stopping the spread, right? People are running for the hills. I don't think so. Do you even remember the last surge? Was it so horrible? Was it like, oh my God, was it the worst thing you ever saw? No, we got through it. And we'll get through it again. I mean, it was not fun, but we've been through three little blips here. Not blips. We've been through three significant outbreaks, and we're fine. We're fine. Relax, everybody. We're going to get through this. So, yes, I'm aware of the $8 billion lawsuit. Yep, because of what they did, not what they're doing. Now, I'll tell you where they really were egregious was they continued marketing the drug when it was very clear what was happening and how so many people were getting addicted to it. That was, I'll forgive them early on when it was my profession doing it, but when they piled on, that's not okay. That's not okay. Yeah, of course the spread is real. It's a very contagious agent. Will we be almost out of the woods this time next year? Hopefully more like the springtime when we get the vaccine, right? We get the vaccine, we don't have to worry about it anymore. Deborah, intense headaches when you Valsalva, that's blowing up a balloon, that kind of thing. You ought to talk to a doctor about that. There can be things like aneurysms and things like that. It's probably not that, but that kind of thing can cause funny symptoms like that. So, okay. So, Leopold, did I give enough on what you wanted to know about behavior addictions? There's obviously a huge topic we can get into there if you want. Susan, what happened to your phone? Probably over in that territory somewhere. Okay. How's the vibe in New York City? Great question, Pollyanna. It's actually really good. It's way better than it was last time we were here.
Police are out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But people are out and about now much more. Everyone's wearing masks. Much calmer sense of it. No one's freaked out the way they were last time we were here. And Anthony, I didn't see your question, Anthony Warren. I can't see every question, guys. Many things are scrolling by, and I'm trying to focus on what I can. I apologize for that. Already I forgot what I was just saying. So the vibe in New York City. So it's been good. It's been way good, and it's not like it was. Obviously, people are still away, but people are here. People are here. Yeah. Where can I learn the difference between COVID and H1N1? look, H1N1 was a influenza, a flu-type virus. It was the swine flu. It's not a coronavirus. It was a flu virus, and it was horrible. I had it. It almost killed me. It routinely killed 20 to 40-year-olds. It infected about 500 million to 1 billion people worldwide, killed 600,000. And again, it was people in the prime of life it killed. Did not kill old people, did not kill young people. And we got through it. We got through it, you know. Is being addicted. Thank you, B-World. Wow. Chad, that's crazy. Methadone, morphine, and fentanyl together. That is insane to me. It's just so awful when I hear about that stuff. I was fighting that stuff on every front back when my peers, my other doctors were doing that. They told me I was out of sync. I was interested in people suffering, old fashioned. It was horrific. They killed people like crazy. Efficacy of 12-step meetings for addiction. Well, real recovery, and if you're really honest, rigorous honesty, working with the sponsor, doing steps, Dr. I'm blanking on the doctor's name from Harvard, is the head of the addiction medicine program there. Dr. Humphreys at Stanford published a study. It's going to come to me in a minute. They did a Cochrane analysis that showed in no uncertain terms that mutual aid, 12-step, is as efficacious or better than any professionally managed treatment if abstinence is your goal and costs nothing. Zero price. Why would you not avail yourself of that? It may not work for everybody, but it's free. I say it's free. It's free. It's available everywhere. And it's something that needs to be emphasized, and it works. That's the new Cochrane analysis from Dr. Kelly, Dr. John Kelly. Anarchy, that's not really true. That's not really true. How do I feel about antidepressants? They are life-saving sometimes. But some people get kind of stuck on them, and I'm not in favor of not doing the hard work, also associated with sometimes psychotherapy and that kind of thing. How do we get those? Okay, I'm trying to, if I had H1 in 2009 like you did we have immunity to H1 this season? Haley, it's in the flu vaccine. So I take it in the flu vaccine every year. I don't know how long the immunity lasts for. Usually flu immunity doesn't last that long. So I would guess you should avail yourself of the vaccine. You don't want that one again. But it's not around that much. It's not around anymore. Caitlin, I'm not sure what you're saying there. I'm trying to follow that story. Good, Rich. I'm glad your dad is sober. Thoughts on COVID in Wisconsin? It looks bad. Things are really accelerating there. And again, you guys had lots of gatherings of people. Matt, that's interesting. You had a positive COVID result, then a couple of negative back-to-back. Well, they go negative again. If you had a high nasal PCR, then you had it, and you should check antibodies now. You may be over it. Thoughts on Borat? Yellow, I don't know what Borat happened. I saw there were some headlines. I didn't really look at the articles. Zinc ivermectin, die success rate. Would have the doctor been on the show? No, we're going to get Dr. Yo back soon, and we'll go over all the newer kinds of therapies. It's hard to get them now. Respiratory droplets go into a mask filter, right? Turn into nuclei small enough, and then a virus particle can pass through the filter. No, that's not how it works. The virus travels on droplets that do not make it through, but the virus can aerosolize and go out the sides of your mask. That's where there is concern, or below the mask. And that's that. I mean, the aerosolized virus is the concern. Now, 85% of people, as I quoted yesterday, who get COVID wore masks diligently. They get it in the home. You get it when you take your mask off and go home. That's where it's transmitted. That has been shown over and over and over again. And just think about it this way. If you had COVID, and let's say you were an asymptomatic carrier, wouldn't you be happy you did something to block some of the transmission that you might have caused? Wouldn't that be a good thing? I I've not heard that mouthwash can kill COVID, but again, that doesn't get it out of the nose. Okay, hold on a second. Thank you, Brandy Lynn. Good. That's very kind of you to say. I appreciate that. Danielle George, I think that would be a reasonable thing, but I think people are afraid of the small percentage that have bad outcomes. But you're correct. I think if New York hadn't been such a shit show and Italy been such a mess, I don't think we would have reacted like this. I think that panicked people. Then the press piled on the panic, and then people developed this orientation that this virus was going to kill everybody or kill you. Caitlin, okay, let me read your thing here. Anything about Erb's palsy? I was delivered in a military hospital in Nevada while my mom was stationed at Area 51. Doctor pulled me up by my arm. Can physical disabilities affect the way the brain develops? So you're talking about a stretch injury on the arm. That kind of thing was, if I get what you're talking about, it went along also with forceps deliveries too. That kind of thing happened. And physical disabilities definitely change how your brain develops because your brain and your periphery are sort of connected, but it doesn't change your development per se in terms of cognition and psychiatric problems and that kind of thing. However, if you had one complication during birth, you have to worry there might have been some other things going on, like some drop in the oxygen level in your blood or something as you're being delivered, causing some hypoxemia, and that certainly can cause brain damage. I'm looking up the Erb's palsy, paralysis of the arm, caused by severing of the upper trunks. So I think you probably had a stretch of the brachial plexus, commonly even exclusively from shoulder dystocia during birth. Okay, it is a tear. Depending on the nature of the damage, the paralysis can either resolve on its own or be really. So it's not a tear; it's a stretch again. The paralysis can be partial or complete. Loss of sensation, common cause dystocia, the shoulder distortion, I mean your shoulder's stuck in your mom as you're trying to get out. And nothing about any neurological stuff there. So there you go. Ozone's dangerous. Ozone is O3, and it's a very polar molecule. It can tear through cells and destroy nuclei and DNA and things like that. That's why. Christine, I don't know why you're disappointed, or Christine, I don't know why you're disappointed, but I'm just catching that. Let's see. Joey Diaz on Patreon asking about doing the show. You said you would be interested. He said he'll reach out to Tom and arrange it. That's cool. Thank you, Rory. So, Susan, we're going to have Joey Diaz soon.
What?
We're going to get Joey Diaz. Or maybe we should do a Joey. You know, we should do a Joey. We should have him fill in for Christina on After Dark. That's what I'm going to do. Thank you for that. That's a great catch. Eva Lynn. You have Sherman's kyphosis, mild scoliosis. No, that does not put you at high risk getting COVID. No, of course not. That musculoskeletal problems, if you have chest issues and you have respiratory compromise, obviously you don't want to get any upper respiratory infection or pneumonias. They're all going to be worse for you, but nothing special about COVID. Thank you, Anarchy. Trying. Alyssa, good. I'm glad you changed your mind on Fauci. He's right. He knows what he knows. He's got very good judgment. He's a very keen scientist. And you may not like hearing it, and you may feel like it's too conservative. I totally get that, but he knows what he's talking about. H2S, intermediates in the lungs. Yep. Not good for the lungs, that's for sure. Oh my goodness, I have suddenly a ton of emails. Joy's in New Jersey now. Well, he might be coming to LA sometimes. You never know. But maybe I can get him on the Zoom like they did for the live After Dark, Your Mom's House show. 80-year-old dad. Wait a minute. Going by with heart disease and diabetes. Okay, Christine, I will answer this question the third time. The third time I am saying that if there is heart and muscle damage, if he has cardiomyopathy, he is not to take Hydrolyte because there's a big sodium load there. If he merely has coronary disease, and by the way, he has to have normal renal function as well. So it's definitely something you have to ask his doctor about. When people have blood restriction to the muscle of the heart, the muscle often becomes dysfunctional. And you have to reduce the sodium intake. Hydrolyte would not be good for that because it's a big sodium load. Same thing with kidney. If the kidney isn't quite functioning the way it should, you can have trouble clearing all that fluid. So it's only if for some reason he is needing fluid management. So he's dehydrated. It's a hot day. He doesn't have a cardiomyopathy. You've cleared it with his doctor. Then it would be a reasonable thing to do. Essential thrombocytosis in remission. Good. You had that? Why didn't you tell us beforehand? Essential thrombocytosis can be kind of nasty. So I'm glad you're in remission. You had nagrelide, which is it's pretty easy to treat with oral chemotherapy agents, but that stinks. Yeah. No, Booty Warriors, I didn't say stop wasting my time. I'm saying stop making me feel guilty for answering a question 3 times and claiming I did not answer a question. I answered it multiple times.
So fast.
Well, I'm sorry. A lot of people asking questions. Lithium use in a 41-year-old bipolar, long-term use, it's designed for that. You have to watch your kidney function, watch your thyroid function, but it's really designed for long-term use, so that's good. Tom Cigar. When you get the platelets up towards 1 million, 800,000 to 1 million, you said your blood was soup, meaning it was more viscous. You can get some really nasty problems from that. So I'm glad you got that taken care of. A lot of people wouldn't know to even, to do that.
Episode 89.
Soup Stain with Christina P is up right now. That's right. If I test positive the same day, test negative a couple times, what should you do? Matt, didn't we answer your question the same also before? So where to find what?
Your mom's house.
Where should they find that?
Where do you think?
Go to the internet and Google your mom's house. Google After Drew After Dark, and you'll find it there.
Or YouTube.com/Dr. Drew.
YouTube, is it on the YouTube page?
Yes.
Okay, youtube.com/Dr. Drew. Could I get something to drink?
Or you can just get the podcast.
Or you can listen to the podcast. And where would they get that?
Where you find the
Wherever you get your podcast. Okay.
podcast. What do you want?
Some of that.
I think you need some wine.
No, Fresca. I really need
Yeah,
some.
you do.
I'm really, really, really thirsty. So hang on. I'm now trying to go back and get to your questions here. Nothing is a waste of my time. There's no dumb questions, but you must listen to my answers if you're asking for them and not blame me for not answering them. That's a very unpleasant feeling. Pollyanna, I'm happy to answer the questions. I'm happy to. I was trying to answer somebody's question that's been asked a couple times already about, what was it? All right. Can I explain EMDR? EMDR is rapid eye movement desensitization therapy, where it's essentially a way of sort of hypnotizing. It's not hypnosis, but it's a way of accessing a part of your midbrain that you can't get at. And you get there through this rapid eye movement, and it allows people to access traumatic memories and traumatic feelings that they couldn't get to any other way. Essentially, that's it. Post-thrombotic syndrome, DVT, Achilles surgery, oh boy. Do I have any suggestions? What can I take for that? You have pain now? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you meant by post-thrombotic syndrome? Rheumatologist gave me hydroxychloroquine, but scared to take it. Why, Suzanne? Listen, not only is hydroxychloroquine is one of the safest drugs there is. I was doing my continuing medical education for internal medicine. I did the rheumatology book, and they brought up hydroxychloroquine multiple times as the first-line treatment, particularly for lupus, and so safe, they advise that these women stay on it during pregnancy. It's the only time I've ever seen a non-obstetrical specialty recommend a medication continue during pregnancy. It's so safe, you can literally stay on it when you're pregnant. That's crazy. So and I've seen thousands of prescriptions and never seen any side effect. You should see after a year, see an ophthalmologist. There can be some weird retinal things and real corneal things that happen, but very rare, very unusual. It's not lemonade, it's Fresca. So yes, Kelly Gallagher, it came back that it was placebo. But Andrew Ashkazvili was educating us that the placebo may have been a meningitis vaccine, and he's wondering if that had anything to do with it, but he died of COVID. He got COVID because he didn't get the vaccine. He got the placebo. I saw that it's on schedule. Anything different? I'm not sure what you're asking. Any thoughts on quercetin? I take it. I'm not able to recommend it yet. There's
Basically, he took one for the team.
a pain in the calf at night. I had the clot in my calf. It's been there for years. Do you have any suggestions? Rory, have you had a recent ultrasound to see what's going on there, like whether or not the clot is actually still there or whether it's dilated? I don't have any real good ideas after that, except anti-inflammatories can be useful. You know, strong anti-inflammatories like Indocin, that sort of thing. But you don't want to be on them for long periods of time. So, history, 1 milligram of hormone a night is a cancer risk. Michelle, no. Although you might want to talk to your doctor about taking progesterone with the estrogen, and be sure to take some testosterone with it. I saw some data recently that showed that if you take testosterone with estrogen, breast cancer risks actually go down. Can bipolar be dominant for 35 years with no episodes? Sure. Yeah, it can be very mild and it can suddenly come on later. In fact, when it comes on later in life, particularly in men where I've seen it, it's associated with midbrain infarcts, like thalamic infarcts, that kind of thing. GSR, she's doing great. The book is coming out soon. That book is called It Doesn't Have to Be Awkward. And we'll bring her on my podcast one of these days soon. EMDR is effective. It is very effective. So check that out. That's funny, Cheryl. I can't see the name of that our Twitch friend there. Okay, I'm trying to go back up to all the questions I missed. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry here. 1 second. Oh, somebody asked a question about the getting a positive test and a negative test, and I need to know if it was a PCR or a high nasal swab PCR or not. The first one. There definitely can be false positives. There can be, for sure. But the thing you have to look out for is that you were positive and you just converted to negative. And the only way to look at that is to check out your antibody screen. Please answer about long-term COVID issues and risk for most people. 99.9% of people do fine. Very small percentage have long-term anything. What is it you'd like to know? Be happy to answer. Can I take a test instead of a colonoscopy? No, Deborah, really. I mean, you can take the Cologuard, but really colonoscopy is the gold standard. I have to get one every year. That is right, DJ. I agree with you. Okay, leronlimab. DSMB told them they're in phase 3, that everything looked good. To continue the trial as scheduled, they are trying to fill out the patient count. Good. That's interesting, Andrew. Ooh, Brandy Lynn, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Data sequence. I'm not sure what that was all about. Pigman, how's he doing? He apparently went kind of underground. Happy to do it, Cheryl. Testosterone. Wait, I'm losing you. Testosterone and hair loss. That can be a problem. If you have a family history of hair loss, the testosterone will accelerate that. And you can use Rogaine. It will help. It will help. Vitamin C bring your period back? Absolutely not. I'm 50. I have brain fog. Jules, the most common reason for brain fog would be menopause and depression, or both. So you really need to talk to your doctor about some hormone replacement. You're not getting early on Alzheimer's. No. You'll be shocked at how much better you'll be with some hormone replacement. How do things like autoimmune diseases like psoriasis interact with COVID? Not really at all, except the treatments might. If you're on one of those TNF inhibitors, right? That could be an issue, but doesn't seem to be that big a deal. Thyroid for sure, Cheryl, but somebody who is not otherwise well and 50 and doesn't know they have a thyroid disease, you have to think depression and menopause or perimenopause. Okay.
Can you promote my show?
Can you do it? Susan has a show coming out with Cindy Kaza on Tuesday of next week. At what time?
You guys are from the Holter Farm.
From the Holzer Files. Cindy
And
Kaza's
Shane,
and Shane Pittman, the
And
guy
Colby
carries around all the
Rebel.
cool equipment that Susan likes, and
Colby Rebel.
Colby Rebel will be with the group as well. And that will be when on Tuesday?
6 p.m. Pacific, p.m. Eastern.
Uh,
About this time. I think.
okay.
I don't know. No, 4 p.m. Pacific. I'm sorry.
4 p.m. Pacific.
7 p.m.
Can people with no gallbladder do keto safely? Yeah, I'm not aware of any special issues with
Tell me
that.
about the $20 magazine I bought.
Yeah, Susan bought a keto diet magazine for $20, and I was like, what? How about I just eat? How about I just eat meat?
I know, I could have just used the internet.
Well, you feel like you're in the 80s because you don't, because
You know what? It has peanut butter cookies in here. You might like. We just need to get some almonds and some. It's keto. And then the snacks look really good. So I'll make you something.
I see your point there, Brandy Lynn. I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure that's true. It really is much more like a hypnotic situation. That when you look at what the brain is doing, you literally can reach parts of the brain that aren't reachable in other situations. Or the thing that trauma does is it dissociates parts of the brain from other parts of the brain. You have disconnections, and this allows for those connections to redevelop. Yeah, do magazines still exist? Somebody's asking. Oh boy. 9-year-old on hydrocodone, that may be what she needs. I mean, that sounds awful. Kelly, someone I'm close to at MRI went into autonomic dyslexia. Why? They might happen, what? Again, but might happen infection in their sacrum. Is there anything else they can do? I would have to look that up. I would tell you, I'd need to know a lot more information about what you're talking about there and what happened. Let's see. Okay, what do I think about Biden's telling parents let children get gender surgery before puberty? Brendan, I think the doctors need to be in charge of that, and they need to figure out how to select the right patient for the right treatment. We did an interview with Dr. Susan So. What's her name? Susan So? Deborah So. You can look that on our YouTube page, YouTube/Dr. Drew. Will I take the COVID vaccine, Mandy Lynn, as fast as I can get it? As fast as I can get it. You understand placebos?
I know.
Okay. So, Susan, are you watching Love Boat? Yes, she is. We were subjecting her to that. I can barely watch it now. I'm not. It's hard.
Thank God Vicky didn't have to leave the ship.
Well, anarchy, that's an interesting statement. And if you're an older person, particularly, a lot of older people feel exactly like that. Like they don't want to cash in whatever time they have remaining. They want to go have their life, as opposed to cash in a year or 2 years of their remaining time, of which there may only be a very few years, in the name of a 10% risk of something that they don't even know if they're going to get. So, pineal gland cyst removed, now has a shunt, but gets pain daily in his side. I don't know what that would be, Lynn. I wonder, when they do the ventricular peritoneal shunts, the shunt usually goes down the neck and kind of can go into the abdomen somewhere in the side. So it makes me I wonder if there's some irritation from the tube there or something. Harris not willing to take the vaccine until it's reviewed. Once the FDA has reviewed it and the CDC has reviewed it, it is reviewed. You don't need 11 guys from California who are not up to the standard of being on the federal committees. They are not up to that standard to do their own review. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yes, Caroline, you're becoming more of a hermit. It's causing us to all live like drug addicts, isolate, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm drinking.
Andrew, you laughing out loud at me did you see what California is doing? They're not going to allow the vaccine to be distributed. They're interfering with the practice of medicine until government appointed 11 people who are nobodies. I mean, not nobodies. They're leaders in their field, but they're nothing compared to the experts that are evaluating the vaccines. I mean, the people that are looking at the vaccine are the world's best. Okay, I'm sorry I can't deal with that Lexapro call. It's way too long. I'm sorry. Okay. Leopold, I'm familiar with those sorts of quantum theories of consciousness. I don't need that. It's not necessary. I can explain consciousness, or at least get to an understanding of consciousness through a much more rational means than trying to imbue microtubules with consciousness. I don't like those approaches.
These nuts are the world's best. Thank you, Wingmaker.
What was these nuts?
I don't know. Maybe he's calling us nuts. We're the world's best nuts.
Okay. The Twitch always comes in with the craziest stuff. So how can California block the vaccine? I don't know, but they claim they're going to do it, and it is infuriating. Infuriating. It's just so it's the hubris of that government in California, which is just out of control. It really is out of control. We've got to do something about that. Yep, Lisa, they are full and they've been creative. Should airline workers be in line for the vaccine? Yeah, but they're not getting it.
Yeah,
They're not at risk, really.
Yeah, but it would make them feel better.
Yes, and make them feel more secure. I don't think they should quite be right there with the first line. They should not be with the first responders so much, because first responders, can be in situations to make it difficult to maintain perfect. They're around people that are known to have it. So, Susan, people that fly usually don't have COVID. People that first responders respond to for COVID have COVID, and that's why they should be getting it. Oh, what happened? Cuomo is setting his own data safety team for approved vaccine so they can review it. That's ridiculous. Although maybe New York has some people in it that are as qualified as the people. They want Leo Terrell back, Susan. Maybe we get Leo Terrell in here. I love Leo. Are you more COVID if you had Budd-Chiari malformation? I don't believe so. No, the risk for COVID are age and metabolic syndrome and obesity. That's it. Everything else are sort of risk for complications and risk for, having, and that's true if you're in that category, like you have asthma or you have, cardiopulmonary problems, that puts you at risk for any pulmonary infection. So.
What would be your last meal, Drew?
Spaghetti. What's my experience using angiotensin 2 for severe COVID cases? Do I think it's effective? I do not. We need to be more testing on Tyler Henry. I would like to do more on him. I have not been asked to. Yeah, I've not been asked to, but the neuroscientist I was working with was very interested in doing some more stuff. Yeah. When was the last time I spoke, Dr. Fauci? Years ago. Don't forget quercetin for early COVID treatment, David. That's something I can't recommend yet. Dr. Zelenko recommends it. I take it, but there's not enough data for me to formally recommend it. I've talked a great deal about the homeless problem. The stimulus doesn't get passed for election. We could see more. Do not confuse homelessness with the mental health crisis of people living on the street. We will see more homelessness, and people will be living with their families and their friends. They will not be on the streets. People on the street problem is the problem with people like me are prevented from treating people with severe mental illness, prevented by the law. That's the problem right now. Realistically, when will the average person be able to get the vaccine? I think in the spring, I suspect. I think they will be. I think there's a high probability you'll start seeing it around then. Okay, Susan, I think I'm going to kind of wrap up. It's been about an hour. What?
I did have some puppies.
What?
Got some puppies from Twitch Master Jay.
Oh. See, I'm not seeing these things for some reason.
I got the puppies.
Thank you for puppies.
I got
I don't know what that
puppies,
means,
too.
but taking Lyrica does not look. Here's a put you at risk for nobody. Do not ask me. Am I risk because of? If you have antiphospholipid syndrome, metabolic syndrome, obesity, and advanced age, 70, 75 and above, that puts you at risk. Nothing else. Asthma's recently back on the list. That's it. Period. So you don't have to worry about yourself if you have any other pre-existing condition. Now, if you have a pre-existing condition, you have to worry about yourself getting sick from anything, bacterial infections particularly. So yeah, you want to stay well. It may not go as well for you as a healthy person, but you're not in the risk category of the severe COVID syndromes, the cytokine storm and all that stuff. Risk determined by the amount of virus you catch while you're... Yeah, there's some evidence to suggest that viral exposure, the load of the inoculate, may have something to do with how sick you get. It's true. Yeah, I know. They do not understand what's going on the street. It's untreated mental illness, and it's anosognosia. Look up anosognosia. Look at Lantern and Petra's short act. Look at the things that prevent us, block us from treating people on the streets.
You had to put a date on the return of normal life.
A date on the return of normal life? I would like it to be tomorrow.
I think March from the astrologist.
I think March is about right, actually. I think by around mid to late spring, you're going to start seeing something like normal.
It's going to change on December 21st.
I do think.
And then it's going to take like 3 months to get back to normal.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think probably December is when you're going to start seeing the vaccine being distributed, and I think it'd take till well into the spring to really do it.
According to Mars in retrograde.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense to me, though, in terms of the medical situation. And so I would love to see people return to some kind of normalcy as fast as they can, but be safe doing it. That's all. It needs to, like Kelly Gallagher said, it needs to be safe. I agree with that.
Let's talk about Halloween ghost stories.
Okay, Susan's going to be in on Tuesday. She wants to... Why don't you come in and promote it? Come on in. Okay. That's Tuesday with Cindy Kaysa and Colby Rebel.
Cindy Kaysa watches the Travel Channel. Awesome.
Okay, guys, thank you for... What is that? What did Masto J put in there for the all the crazy icons they put in?
Master J.
I don't know. Okay, guys. Well, I made ask for you to come over to give my opinion on COVID. Anthony's asking. Yeah, I do a show every night on Fox 11. That's not Fox News. That's Think Family Guy and Simpsons, that kind of Fox. So I've been doing that every night since March. Going on other outlets, I've not really been that interested in doing it. DJ, I agree on the vaccine trials. They've been going very well, and they've been done very well. I had a high nasal PCR. Okay, that was the first test. Then had negative test the next day. Was it also a high nasal PCR, the negative test? I mean, if it was, it's really an interesting question. I don't know how you resolve that, except maybe getting a third test. I'm sorry to put you through that, but yeah, I mean, that's how you resolve it. That's about all you can do, I say. I'm trying to follow you guys. Yes, people are afraid because they don't seem to understand the risk, and some people are afraid because they're worried about people close to them who are at risk, who are older, that kind of thing. But be sure if there's somebody old in your life that you're worried about exposing, talk to them. Make sure they want you to curtail the risk. I talk to lots of them, and many of them go, forget it. I don't want to give up this time. I don't know how much time I have left. So you may find a very different sort of attitude amongst older people who you are concerned about. Andrew, who is getting the CT scan? Oh my God, my neck and back are killing me. What time is it? It's over here right now. It's 9:20. Yeah, it's drunken uncle syndrome again, Casey says. So tomorrow we'll swing by again. Okay. Although I'm pro-vaccine, would I be against any kind of restrictions on movement or travel for people who refuse to take the vaccine? people who refuse to take the vaccine are going to get the virus. So that's up to them, right? Don't we allow people to make their own choices in this country? Isn't that something we did? So I don't know. I believe they are putting in a quarantine as a preemptive requirement to do an MTV show to do the Teen Mom reunion. That is correct, my friend. Yeah, somebody already narked on us when we were not even quarantined yet. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you all. We're in New York City, but we're locked down.
We don't have it. We went
Did
to
I-
dinner. We didn't have it.
Did we have a COVID test before we left too?
Saturday
Jesus.
before we left.
I can't even, I've had so many COVID tests, I can't even remember them all
If we
now.
got it on the plane, there's no way we could pass it in a restaurant or be, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
We could have caught it like on the plane the day before and been sick with it. And we're not sick.
Okay. So that being said,
And we
good.
really have-
Alana, I'm glad you found After Dark. Thank you for that, my friend.
It's almost like they don't want you to be able to make it to MTV to do your job.
Yeah. Stefan Z, always good. Just talk to your doctor. It's all you got to do. I think it's a great idea. Patrick Coleman's going to go.
I wish Kelly Victory was here right now.
Why do you wish Kelly Victory was here right now?
I think like her. It's just common sense. They're spending all this money on the COVID test. We're being super careful. We don't have any symptoms. We're not going to infect anybody. We're not stupid. We're not going to go out and risk our lives at the celebration of the Lakers event.
Yep.
Or go on a freeway overpass to fight for Armenian genocide.
Which is probably why LA
we live
popped
in
up so
our
high.
homes, and we haven't done anything. Drew and I have been together for the last 9 months. I've seen like 12 people in the last 9 months outside of my husband.
Thanks for the super hearts, Alana. Appreciate that. And I know I got to stretch those muscles. Ugh.
We're not stupid. We're trying so hard to be.
Andrew, who seems different? Susan seems different. Yeah, she seems irritable tonight.
Yeah, I'm really pissed about those people narking on us.
She's unhappy that we had spies. I see. Was it one of you guys? Did you guys do it? Governor Cuomo is asking people to rat on people. Yeah. I know. Well, it's not like we were in masks.
We were alone in a restaurant. We're the only ones in the entire restaurant.
Dawn asked, why do I live in California? I ask myself that every day. And they're wanting to know if you're on CBD gummies. Is that the problem here? No, she actually didn't take them today. Maybe that's the problem. Okay. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it as always. Jeremy, she's not going to rub my back or rub my feet. I know that's not going to happen. It's too painful to ask.
You said you don't like it.
Back rubs? So
I'm reading the keto book so I can cook you something keto.
I know.
It's a keto diet book.
Okay.
It's not
Okay. Thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow. Okay. See you then. My antibody test was negative.
Bummer.
Yeah. The World Health Organization estimates that each year approximately 1 million people take their own life. That's one death every 40 seconds. Experts predicted numbers would peak in 2020, but no one could have imagined the devastation brought on by COVID-19. During the coronavirus pandemic, you may experience anxiety, sadness, and loneliness, Existing mental health conditions, including severe anxiety and major depression, may worsen. If you're feeling hopeless, contemplating self-harm, or you're concerned about someone else, I'm here to tell you there is hope. A Mission for Michael is dedicated to helping clients achieve complete inner and outer transformation. Mission for Michael is the premier resource for intensive mental health treatment in Southern California. With an astonishing 2-to-1 client-to-staff ratio, each client in their facility receives individual care 24 hours a day, overseen by a team of all doctorate or master's level clinicians. With a focus on evidence-based treatment, along with personalized and compassionate care, they offer mental health treatment that can change lives. If you're suffering from mental illness or you're concerned about a loved one, go to amfmtreatment.com. Again, that's a Mission for Michael, amfmtreatment.com, or call 866-581-4401. Again, that is 866-581-4401. As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolite for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. My wife uses it all the time. I've been behind it for a long time. I wanted to develop it myself. They came out with it first. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolite Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolite Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolite's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolite Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water and make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors, and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolite Plus by visiting hydrolite.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount.